Walk us through your reasoning for the articles of impeachment.
Basically, this is because of pattern of behavior that the secretary has demonstrated since he has taken his oath of office, misleading and flat out lying to the American people. Most recently, it endangered our national security with all the conflicts that we are engaged in, all of the attacks that are taking place on our bases around the world. He admitted himself into the hospital, had a surgery conducted. We don't know how long he was sedated for, how much he was, whether he was put under or not. The president of the United States was not even informed of this. It compromised our national security. My gosh, we found out that the deputy was informed as she was on her vacation in Puerto Rico sometime after the surgery that she was going to be taking on those duties. That is not a good place for us to be. We saw an absolutely terribly botched withdrawal from Afghanistan where 13 service members were killed unnecessarily. And then if we go back another 12 months, we see that the country was literally spied upon from a Chinese spy balloon. The secretary was aware that it entered our airspace over the Aleutian Islands. He allowed it to continue to go across Alaska, across Canada, enter into the airspace above Montana, where it spent several days collecting data and images of the very sensitive defense systems we have there, the ICBMs and Malmstrom Air Force Base. And again, he misled. First would not even confirm that this spy balloon was around, and then misled the American people by saying that it could not collect data. And we found out that it could collect data and images, and that it could not transmit that data back to China. And now we have cellular information that shows that, in fact, they actually were doing just that. So this pattern of behavior of misleading and lying to the American people, jeopardizing our national security, has compounded to the point that I do believe, and many of my colleagues, I think, will support this resolution to impeach Secretary Lloyd Austin.
Just for dereliction of duty in itself. I'm wondering if you think there's an appetite for this right now, because there are no fewer than 3 people that House Republicans could impeach, Alejandro Mayorkas and, of course, Joe Biden himself. But let me just ask you about what I think has become very evident. This is a blind spot for the president. He doesn't let people go, and I think it's to his detriment. Somebody needs to fall for this, and it should be Lloyd Austin, regardless of what's going on with the secretary in his personal life, medically speaking. And of course, you know, it goes without saying, we wish him the best in his recovery. No one wants to hear that diagnosis. But the Secretary of State was in Jordan, Turkey, Qatar, and Greece over the last several days. The Secretary of State had no idea where the defense secretary was. Who is the Secretary of State reporting back to? If it's not Joe Biden, and don't forget there's a war in Ukraine and there's a war in Israel, obviously it's going to be the Secretary of Defense, but nobody had any idea where he was, how long he was in intensive care. Last week, on Thursday, there was a drone strike. 2 people were killed in Baghdad. Who gave the order? We know it wasn't the Deputy Defense Secretary because, as you said, she was sunning herself in Puerto Rico just a few days after Joe Biden was sunning himself down in St. Croix. So this is a massive problem for the White House that nobody can give us a good answer, including John Kirby yesterday, sir.
And this is the question. Who is running? What shadow government do we have behind the Biden administration that's actually making the decisions about what is going to happen, how our affairs are going to be conducted, both domestically and in foreign affairs? This should be very concerning to everyone across the nation. I mean, we've heard for quite some time now that Barack Obama is actually running things. And when I watched Joe Biden try to deliver a speech and then fumble his way off of the stage, it scares me to think that this is what is leading our nation. And when I see that the foreign leaders are watching this exact same interaction, do you think it does not embolden our tyrants around the world, our adversaries around the world, when they see that this is how our affairs are being conducted?